I'm Judy Carta, and I'm a senior scientist at Juniper Gardens Children's Project at the University of Kansas. And I'm the PI and the co-director of the Bridging the Word Gap Research Network, along with Dr. Charles Greenwood and Dr. Dale Walker. Well, the word gap is a stunning finding that refers to the disparity in the number of words that children in poverty hear compared to children from more advantaged backgrounds. This finding was identified by Betty Hart and Todd Risley from the University of Kansas almost 20 years ago. This disparity in total number of words that children hear also translates to the size of the vocabularies that children have by the time they're 3. That's an important disparity because vocabulary, we know, is really critical for later reading skills. It's an important predictor of how well children will be able to read later on. They really go into kindergarten at a big disadvantage.
We know that right now, during the first 3 years of life, a child born into a low-income family hears 30 million fewer words than a child born into a well-off family. And if a Black or Latino child isn't ready for kindergarten, they're half as likely to finish middle school with strong academic and social skills.
Why hasn't it been possible to see a reduction in the gap between lower income and higher income children in terms of their vocabulary? You know, why does this disadvantage persist? We were funded to develop an infrastructure of people, of researchers, of policymakers, of funders, of practitioners who could finally do something to move the needle on this issue of the word gap. And so what we've been trying to do is gather up all these disparate forces and find out what we know about what works in bridging the word gap and what don't we know. And so what research needs to be done around the issues around the word gap and finally be able to make a difference in these children's lives. We just recently completed a national survey, and the purpose of the survey was to find out what they think are the most important priorities for doing research. And the number one research priority that they identified across different stakeholders was that more research is needed to help parents work with their children in terms of promoting their language. And so we need to find practical ways that parents can engage their children in learning language. So we have more than 140 individuals that are part of this network, and those individuals are researchers, practitioners, policymakers, funders, civic leaders, a real variety of individuals, and we've organized them into work groups. And what we're hoping can come from this identification of gaps is an identification of the next studies that need to be done in order to address the most pressing research gaps that we have in a number of different areas. We have interventions that are being done at the individual level with parents and child care providers, with communities and the different agencies within a community, and also at the population level where we're doing public awareness campaigns in an entire city. So what we want to do in a pilot study is to pull all 3 levels together within a city and engage in intervention at the individual level, in the community level, and in the population level, and to see what we learn when we put all those together compared to where only one level is taking place. In different cities and in different communities, researchers are working together with programs and practitioners. And so what we've done with our practice-based collaborative is identify 12 of these different researcher program partnerships from 12 cities around the United States and developed a collaboration among them. And so we're getting those groups together on a regular basis and allowing them to have conversations and learn from one another. And so all of those different organizations are providing important information across the collaborative. One of the things that we're very invested in is making sure that we're fostering the development of the next generation of researchers that can do work related to the word gap. So we've identified 6 emerging scholars from around the country. We're disseminating information about the word gap and making sure that we're disseminating it not only to other researchers, but translating the research information to people who can really use it to improve children's language development and promote stronger language environments for children.
Let's find new ways to deliver a world-class education to our children, bridge the word gap, and put more young people on a path to success.
If there are researchers, or even if there are practitioners or policymakers who want to get involved in doing the research with us, in delving into the research literature, they can become part of our work groups. Another way is that we're looking for people who can be commenters and responders to the products that we develop in the network. And then third, if people just want to keep up to date on what we're learning through the network, then they can join our mailing list, they can get it onto our website and get connected to the different social media venues that we're engaged in and keep up to date on the things that we're learning through the network.